Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Azabi here, back again with Kuroko in a Basket Season 2. We are on episode 16, and in the last episode, it was crazy. Kagami has improved to a rate that he was able to go head-to-head with Aomine in a one-on-one situation, and I would probably say that over the course of the episode, he actually ended up coming out on top, which is nuts to say. Like, the difference between the first season and this season, like, I think we're going over the same episodes as well, like the same amount of episodes into the season where we're going up against Toe. And like, so literally a season's worth ago, like, damn, Kagami's improvement has been absolutely insane. I mean, realistically, it has to, like, the pace at which he is improving has to really start coming into its own now, because, you know, like I've said countless times before, like, the only season after this is season 3, and then you've got the movie. So realistically, like, Kagami has to get to that stage of like Generation of Miracles, like at least before season 3 starts. So, you know, I think the rate of of his improvement is insane. And, you know, I was talking about in the pre-discussion for last episode, the post-discussion for last episode, that I want there to be, I want to see like what it was he was working on in that month period where he went to America under Alex, which I guess is his master, and exactly what was it that he learned that changed his game so much. You know what I mean? Because I feel like he got faster as well. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like he's gotten quicker. So, you know, I think it was maybe like just like pushing and like just like endurance training, like non-stop. You know, so it could be that. But yeah, it'll be cool. Kuroko's back on the court, and he's making some smart plays. But he has been there's been a mark change, and now the glasses dude is now Kuroko's new mark. Momoy has given them some information of like a possible weakness that Kuroko has. That obviously that's where it ended. We have no idea what the weakness is as of this moment, so we will get into this episode and see what that weakness is. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. If you do want to go watch the reaction, link is in the description below. There's also the link to the full length if you do want to watch the reaction in full, not just the 10-minute cut version. Then the offer is there for you. But yeah, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 16, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 16. Alright. That for me was definitely the most shocking thing. The most unexpected thing that I've seen in this show. There's been a lot of times like that, you know, that have, I guess, held that title. Like, for example, like, I don't know, actually, maybe maybe the unexpected shock that like came out of nowhere. Maybe the last one that held that record was probably Kuroko against Shotoku the first time, and it was like the very start of the match, where he literally just, you know, Midorima scored and Kuroko did that whole like whirlwind pass to the other side of the court. So it was a while ago, but even then, like, I mean, it's a different sort of thing to what I'm talking about. Like, for example, when we first saw Aomine on the court go absolutely insane, because that's another. I'm talking about like something that unexpected, like that comes out of nowhere that you would not expect. Like, even with Aomine, they like, you know, they hyped him up before he actually got there, and then exceeded expectations still. But it's like, you know, like you're expecting something amazing out of Aomine before he even hit the court. You know, and then I think maybe Kisei as well. Kisei going against Aomine, that was another one. Then that took the reins. And then even like Kagami last episode going up against Aomine, and now this one was like, this one was a perfect sort of. If you were to look at it on a graph, it would be like. It would be like the graph going down, right? And this is like to, you know, to represent like Seirin, like Seirin's ability to win the game, I suppose, right? Is like gradually going down, and it hits like an all-time sort of low, where it's like they've got nothing else left to play, they've got nothing else. There's nothing there. Everyone's like, yeah, what we're gonna do now? Kuroko's given up everything. Even his misdirection doesn't work now. So even aside from like his, you know, his ignite passes and vanishing drives and stuff doesn't work anymore. That when his misdirection is like essentially completely gone, it transfers to everyone else. And it's great because it's given in a way, it's represented in a way like this show is, you know, this show has this sort of, I guess, way of showing things that, like, you know, they're basically just playing a basketball game. There's no powers or like abilities really involved, but the way that everything is sort of shown and sort of you know, planned out, it seems as though like these characters like just have these fucking power. I mean, in terms of like Midorima just taking shots from anywhere on the court and getting them like 100% of the time, unless like Kagami shoots, like, you know, gets a block in, that's like unrealistic. Definitely. But like, I'm talking about how they do like accentuate these sort of like abilities to a point where it seems like they are just powers. But in real, like in Kuroko's terms of like something, I remember in like the very first episode of the show, and like it's immediately put out in front of you, like, how the fuck isn't anybody noticing Kuroko? We're not even talking about on the court. We're talking about like outside of the court. Like, why would Kuroko be using misdirection off the court? You know what I mean? But then it was like sort of shooed away as like it's just weak presence in terms of everyone else around him, and that's what it is. You know what I mean? Which for anime comedic effect and like stuff that happens in anime that doesn't have any real relevance to the serious side of the story doesn't really matter, because I mean, you have animes that are grounded in reality, but then like there are comedic moments that they don't really make sense. So for example, if you take Haikyuu, which is the best example to use because it's also another sports anime, it doesn't have these like sort of unrealistic sort of you know, like sort of, I guess, power plays. I mean, in a way you could say that the Weirdo Quick is something that's just like, what was that? You know what I mean? Or like Kagami's insane precision. But like, you know, I don't know enough about like volleyball to even determine whether or not a lot of that stuff is. But it seems more grounded in reality to the presentation, as opposed to this show where the presentation is a bit more lenient in that regard. But with Haikyuu, there are more, like, even though it's grounded in reality, you have a lot of times where it's like, for comedic effect, you'll have one character throw another character and they go spinning through the air. Stuff like that, right? So, you know, there's stuff like that. But in terms of Kuroko's abilities, this one makes so much sense. Like, everything that Kuroko does is explained through, like, actual logical means as to how he's able to do it. You know what I mean? And that's why he obviously gets a lot of the exposition from how he's able to do it by using, you know, Kagami, for example, as the light to focus the eye. And in that moment of time, Kuroko's going down like a sort of a perspective diagonally past you where the eye doesn't pick it up as quickly, and by the time you've noticed, he's already away past you. With this, it makes the most amount of sense. Like, now, like, it gets like, it's perfect, because the misdirection isn't something that is akin to, you need to stop thinking about it as a power more than it's just basically where the opponent's eyes are fixed. Like, what are the opponent's eyes focused upon at the time? The more that Kuroko gets into the game by using his misdirection, because he is, you know, like, he's having such an impact on the game, naturally all of the opponent's eyes would start to go towards Kuroko, looking to where he is, so that the ball doesn't get played to him and he can just pass it to whoever, right? It basically becomes a game of keeping Kuroko out of the equation. So all of their natural, like, you know, like their like, if you want to talk about like even being in like peripheral vision or even straight up focus, all goes to Kuroko, which naturally takes the view and the focus off of the other Syrian players. So it totally makes sense, and that means that everyone else is able to do it. You know what I mean? The only thing about it is that it forces Kuroko to literally become the light for the whole team, which is something that Kuroko was never supposed to be. But like in this way, it ends up working incredibly well. Something that that was completely, even though I was so sure that they were going to win the game. You see, when anime is able to do that, it's really well done. So I've got to give it really a lot of props for that, because it happens a lot in sports anime where I'm like, yeah, surely this is what has to happen. You know what I mean? But because I can't see I can't see Seirin losing to Toho again for the sake of the story, all right? So, but they still managed, at a moment in time, I was like, I don't know what they could bring out that could neutralize Toho's game plan or even surpass it. And just that moment where Izuki disappears is nuts. It's so cool. I love that Izuki gets that moment to shine, because he doesn't get a lot. Aside from when we were first introduced to his eagle eye thing, ever since then, before that, he hasn't really had a lot of time to shine. So I love the fact that him vanishing, he gets that moment of pure shock. It was just great. I fucking loved it, dude. That was nuts, man. Misdirection Overflow. God, it's great because it's not an ability that is in. It's not like technique that is learned through Kuroko himself. It's something that is just naturally there that Kuroko and Seirin uses. It's like using Kuroko's weakness as his strength. So it's completely 180ing that whole thing of Kuroko basically becoming useless after his misdirection is used up. In this way, it doesn't. It accentuates that. It becomes a strength. It's fucking perfect. It's great. I love it. Even I mean, everyone should have been able to call it out, but I'm glad that I did call it out before it happened, of Kagami actually going against Aomine and using that power against Aomine, because the interesting thing about it is it doesn't work the same way as if Kuroko himself is vanishing driving against you. It's something completely different. The light is something that Aomine isn't even expecting from Kuroko, because we've always had this thing between Kuroko and Aomine where it's they know each other to a point where Aomine is able to just stop Kuroko whenever he wants. But when Kuroko isn't really involved in the play, and I mean, Aomine is not expecting Kuroko to be the light, you know what I mean? That's something that even Aomine can't get his head around, at least at this moment in time, when they were doing this, when they were pulling it off, that he just lost. Even Kagami just whizzed right past him, bye bye. So yeah, really, really cool. I love the thing of they are basically, it's like a suicide run. It's like a kamikaze in a way that they're doing, a kamikaze style of pulling this out of the bag, because it's something that they have to do mainly for Kyoshi's sake. Now, I don't know how much really Kagami or anyone else knows about that Kuroko overheard. But I'm glad that they answered that, though, because that was a question I was asking. He says that he can come back for a year, but then surely that means that he can come back for the next Inter High, if that is a thing. So I asked the question, is that what he's talking about when he says an extra year, or is he talking about the end of the year? So, when the new year comes around in January, that's it. So the Winter Cup would be his last tournament. They answered that, and it turns out because he's playing so hard in this Winter Cup, it's it's completely negated that whole thing of going into the Inter High. It's that's it. His legs are bothering him right there. He needed to get them retaped up and everything. So yeah, this is his last tournament. So oh god, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy stuff. But yeah, the fact that it won't work against Toho ever again, it becomes a thing where it's worth it, because this is Kyoshi's last chance to really play with that team again. Even if in the future, if they go to college or anything past that, uni, whatever, that they join a basketball team and I don't know, maybe Kyoshi and Hyuga might play again in another team, or Kyoshi and Kuroko, or Kyoshi and Kagami, whatever. The whole team isn't going to be there. You know what I mean? This is Seirin we're talking about right now. So it's it becomes worth it to, in the future, this isn't a trump card that they'll have to play because they'll all become stronger by that point. I mean, at that point, I imagine Kagami can go one-on-one with Almine, and it just becomes like, you know, just training and you know, and everything like that to determine who's going to come out on top. They won't need this trump card anymore, so it's not really a loss, but I like the fact that they put it up as like a big deal, that like they're going all out for this, and it's like a risk versus reward thing. You know, it's something that they can never use against Toho again because they'll be expecting it, and it's something that they will maneuver their game plan around for next time so that it won't happen again. But you know, crazy stuff, man. Almine back to his former self. You know, he's loving life. I'm surprised actually he did come this early, because I was talking about in the post discussion last episode about how, yeah, maybe it is going to have to be the loss that he's going to have to eat in order to get back to his proper self. Now, they've said specifically here that he's back to his former self now, so he's in that place. He's in that place where he was sort of mentally smiling, enjoying his basketball properly, like he was when he was at Teiko. So yeah, that's nice to see. And yeah, other than that, Imayoshi, I finally wrote down his name. Yeah, so he's basically known as practically a psychic, reading minds, everything like that. I think this was the first time we actually saw his eyes in this episode, you know what I mean? So that was a surprise. But yeah, they were doing a face guard thing. Momoi obviously got them set up perfectly to essentially break them down and end the game right there and then. But yeah, that fucking misdirection overflow, that was insane, dude. That was really, really insane. But yeah, Imayoshi pulling out the fucking buzzer beat at the end of the third quarter again, as he does. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's done that before. I can't remember if that's what he did against Kaijo or if he did that against Serene in the first season. But yeah, he's known for doing that. Kind of crush the spirit kind of thing. That's the kind of player that he is. But yeah, that was a really, really cool episode. Bunch of episodes, I should say. Good Group 2 episodes there. And I can't wait till next week to get back into some more and see how this match ends. So yeah, that's all I got. So thank you for watching. If you do want to get access to those 2 episodes right now, you can do by going over to my Patreon and becoming an early access tier patron. That is $5 a month. It gives you access to reactions a week early. So yeah, if you want to get access to episodes 17 and 18 right now, that's where you need to go. There's also the full length tier if you want to watch any of my reactions in full and not just the 10-minute cut version. Then that tier there is for you. And then there is the exclusive tier if you want to watch my movie reactions and everything like that. So reactions to movies, everything in that tier. So yeah, there's also a link in the Discord as well down in the description. All the links are down there. So yeah, go have a look at those. And yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.